This sounds gross, frankly. This sounds gross. The WNBA is celebrating its milestone 30th season with a new All-Star initiative that the league says is designed to keep girls involved in sports. That sounds straightforward enough until you dig deeper into the Girls in the Game website. Outkick and Fox News reviewed the organization. According to a 2025 annual report, Girls in the Game served 3,059 participants in 2025 fiscal year. The report says to Girls in the Game and asks whether biological males who identify as girls, transgender girls, non-binary, or gender expansive are eligible. Guys, you are steaming straight towards the WNBA and a biological male.
Let's start with the actual headline. The NBA has failed to answer direct questions that Outkick and Fox News Digital put to them about one of its own charity partners. That's not a hot take, that's just what happened. A national sports league got a specific list of questions from accredited reporters and chose silence. My take: whatever you believe about the underlying issue, no comment from a pro league on a story tied to its own official charity initiative is always newsworthy on its own, and it's the reason this story has legs at all.
And by the way, the WNBA has failed to answer questions about this that Outkick and Fox News has put out to them, because of course they have. This sounds gross, frankly. This sounds gross. The WNBA All-Star Charity Initiative supports...
Here's the actual language causing the stir. The WNBA's All-Star Charity Initiative benefits Girls in the Game, an organization that says on its own website it's moving beyond the binary of girl and welcomes LGBTQ+ youth and gender-expansive participants regardless of gender identity or expression. That's a direct quote, not a paraphrase, and it's a real tension worth sitting with. The league is marketing this as a program to keep girls in sports, and the beneficiary's own language complicates what girls means in that sentence. That gap, not any accusation, is the actual story, so let's dig into how it got there.
This sounds gross. The WNBA All-Star Charity Initiative supports sports group that says it is, quote, moving beyond the binary of a girl. The Girls in the Game say it welcomes LGBTQ+ youth, regardless of gender identity or expression.
Zoom out for context. This is the WNBA's milestone 30th season, and the league rolled out a new all-star charity initiative it says is designed to keep girls involved in sports, with 2 Chicago area organizations picked to split a $100,000 prize pool based on which all-star team wins. On paper, that's a genuinely good idea, using All-Star Weekend Spotlight to fund real community sports programs. The problem isn't the concept, it's that one of the 2 organizations picked doesn't cleanly match the framing the league used to sell it.
A really tough lesson. The WNBA is celebrating its milestone 30th season with a new All-Star initiative that the league says is designed to keep girls involved in sports. But one of the Chicago area organizations selected to benefit from the league's $100,000 All-Star prize pool says it's on its own website that it is, quote, moving beyond the binary of a girl and welcomes gender expansive participants regardless.
That organization is Girls in the Game, tied to Team Spoon in this year's All-Star Game, going up against Angels Athletics under Team Coop. Winner's org gets $70,000, runner-up gets $30,000. Real money, publicly attached to the WNBA's name and marketing. When league money and league branding are directly tied to an organization's public language, reporters asking follow-up questions isn't an attack, it's just standard accountability journalism, and that's exactly what Outkick and Fox News did here.
In the 2026 WNBA All-Star Game, according to the league's July 15th release, the WNBA All-Star teams will compete for a $100,000 prize pool benefiting 2 Chicago area organizations, quote, dedicated to keeping girls involved in sports. The winning team's organization received $70,000.
So reporters went and actually read the Girls in the Game website, beyond the league's press release description of sports, health, and leadership programs, and that's when they found the specific inclusivity language under review. My honest opinion, that's good journalism, not an ambush. If a league is going to hold up an organization as the model for keeping girls in sports, it's fair to check whether the organization's own public materials use girls the same way the league's press release does.
In Chicago to offer sports, health, and leadership programs. That sounds straightforward enough until you dig deeper into the Girls in the Game website. Outkick and Fox News reviewed the organization's website and found language that raises obvious questions about how Girls in the Game.
Read the actual sentence for yourself. Under the heading, "We stand for inclusivity," Girls in the Game states, "Moving beyond the binary of girl, we welcome LGBTQ+ youth and gender-expansive participants, regardless of gender identity or expression." That's their language, on their own site, not something reporters invented or exaggerated. Whatever your personal view on gender-expansive youth programming, that sentence is a legitimate thing to ask a follow-up question about when it sits next to a league press release about keeping girls in sports, specifically.
Defines girl. Under the heading, quote, "We stand for inclusivity," Girls in the Game says, moving beyond the binary of a girl, we welcome LGBTQ+ youth and gender-expansive participants regardless of gender identity or expression. Oh boy.
And that's really the crux of the criticism here. Girls in the Game isn't a generic youth nonprofit that happens to also serve girls. Its entire public mission is built around girls, girls' sports, and girls-only spaces. So when an organization built that specifically on girls also says it's moving beyond that definition, people asking, okay, so what does that actually mean for eligibility, is a completely reasonable question, not a hostile one.
There it is, right there in purple and white. Yikes. Girls in the Game is not a generic youth charity that happens to work with girls. The organization repeatedly frames its mission around girls, girls' sports, and girls-only spaces. So when it says it's moving beyond binary of girls, people deserve to know what that actually means. Outkick and Fox News Digital has not been able to confirm.
Now, in fairness, and this matters, Outkick and Fox News Digital themselves say they have not been able to confirm that any biological males have actually participated in Girls in the Game's girls-centered programming. According to the org's own 2025 annual report, it served just over 3,000 participants total, with its Chicago after-school program alone serving 921 girls in what the report describes as a safe, non-competitive, all-girls environment. That's an important detail that keeps this story honest. This is an unconfirmed eligibility question about a community after-school program, not a documented case of anything happening on the court.
People deserve to know what that actually means. Outkick and Fox News Digital has not been able to confirm whether any biological males have participated in the Girls in the Game girl-centered sports programming. According to a 2025 annual report, Girls in the Game served 3,059 participants in 2025 fiscal year. The report says its Chicago after-school program served 921 participants, and girls play sports, learn about healthy lifestyle.
Which brings us to the actual ask here. If the WNBA is promoting this as an initiative to keep girls in sports, and one of its two chosen beneficiaries publicly says it's moving past the definition of girl, then the league and the organization owe the public a plain answer on who's actually eligible for these programs. That's not a wild demand. That's the bare minimum for an organization taking $100,000 tied to a national sports league's name.
Made this video good. If the WNBA is promoting this as an initiative to keep girls in sports, and if one of the beneficiaries it says it's moving forward beyond definition of girl, then the league and the organization need to explain who is eligible for these programs. Outkick and Fox News Digital reached out to Girls in the Game and asked whether biological...
And to their credit, the reporters asked exactly the right questions. Are biological males who identify as girls, transgender girls, or gender-expansive kids eligible to participate? Do these programs run as girls-only spaces? Are parents told before enrollment that the organization describes itself as moving beyond the binary of a girl? And is the WNBA's prize money unrestricted or earmarked for a specific program? Those are 4 clean, answerable, non-inflammatory questions, the kind any legitimate nonprofit dealing with public money should be able to answer in one paragraph.
Outkick and Fox News Digital reached out to Girls in the Game and asked whether biological males who identify as girls, transgender girls, non-binary, or gender expansive are eligible to participate in the girls-centered sports programming. Outkick and Fox News Digital also asked whether Girls in the Game programs operate as girls-only spaces and whether those programs are limited based on biological sex or gender identity, whether the parents are told before enrollment that the organization is, quote, moving beyond the binary of a girl, and whether the WNBA All-Star money.
The league got an equally direct list. Was the WNBA aware of this language before selecting Girls in the Game for the initiative? Does the league think an organization describing itself that way fits an initiative billed as keeping girls involved in sports? Did the league ask Girls in the Game about eligibility before cutting the check? These are fair questions for any organization spending money under its own banner, full stop.
There's the WNBA. Outkick and Fox News Digital asked the league whether it was aware of the Girls in the Game moving beyond the binary girl language before selecting the organization for an all-star initiative. Fox News Digital and Outkick also asked whether the league believes an organization that says it's moving beyond the definition of a girl fits an initiative describing as keeping girls involved in sports, whether the WNBA asked Girls in the Game about eligibility for biological males who identify as girls or gender expansive participants, and whether.
And the result? Both Girls in the Game and the WNBA declined to respond to multiple requests for comment. That's the actual headline of this whole story. Not an allegation of wrongdoing, but 2 organizations tied to a public charity initiative choosing silence over a handful of straightforward questions. My take: silence doesn't make the questions go away. It just makes people more curious about the answer. Sound off in the comments on whether you think the league eventually clarifies this, and get subscribed for when they do.
If they identify as a girl, WNBA did not respond to Fox News Digital or Outkick because, of course, they didn't. Guys, you are steaming straight towards